Hey, welcome to Tech Tips. My name is Jacob. Today we have a fun one. We have a mixer deck from the Osee company. It's a GoStream Deck is what it's called. It's a little recorder, streamer, and mixer all in one. What makes this switcher exciting is it has multiple streams out. You have your Facebook, your YouTube, and one more, so you can do that at the same time. It has inboard recording on an SD card. But most important, it is and feels like a tiny OB bus switcher board. So it has all of the functions of a proper broadcast switcher in a tiny package. It has your graphics overlays, it has your green screens, it has an audio mixer built in it, and have all the settings built into it right on spot. But this is a tutorial, so we're gonna go right into it. We're gonna go through the outside first, so you know what you get in the box. You get 4 HDMIs in. Right now I have 3 cameras and a green screen graphics from a computer. And I has 2 HDMI outs, which is quite nice. So you can have one program out and you can have one multi-view. So for example, I can have my screen and actually mix and then have a separate output for a screen or a HDMI recorder, if you need that as well. So it's very nice. It has 2 USB-Cs, so you can connect hard drives or use it as a what we call a web camera, for example. And it also has Ethernet cables, so you can stream with it. Very nice. All right, up on the front here, we have a power button, so you can turn it on and off without pulling the cable, which is very nice. You have a go live right away button. It has audio controls. So you have your mics and you have your inputs for each HDMI. You have an aux from your video you can have in, and your program audio in like the main audio up and down. You can have audio follows video, and you can turn the audio off as well. If you look in the bottom of the screen right here, I can activate the mics I want. So let's see, to the left here is the in one. So if I push the button here on and off, you see it toggles between red and gray. I can also set my volume based on each of the cameras. So I turn it on, and you see in the bottom here, it changes the volume on that input. So that's pretty nice. Also in the same screen here, you can see how many streams you can go out. You have 3 out streams you can do at the same time. So you can stream to 3 locations like Facebook and YouTube and one more, for example, at the same time, which is nice. You're not locked into the single one, which is very nice. You also have how much record time you have and how much space you have left on your card. So at the moment I have a 16 gig card. It has 39 minutes left on 13 gigs, which is a pretty good file size, which you can set in the system as well, which is actually quite nice. And I like that. Other ones have a limit to how much settings you can set for your recording or your streaming, or have the same setting for both. This one has a setting for streaming and for recording. That is nice. All right, let's hop on to the next side here. In the center column here, we have 4 memory buttons, so your macros, so you can set certain things in a pattern that you can save and recall after. So if I push the first 3, they came pre-installed. So if I take number 3, comes a whole bunch of graphics right away with inlays and super inserts and a picture-in-picture. And if I turn them off, if I do number 2, it comes in with a whole bunch of things as well. So turn them off there and go live there. See? So you can save a whole bunch of time and trouble for later if you have them already preset. Just note down which is which, so it'll be good for you. All right, on the middle here is the menu button, which is one of my favorites, but we're gonna save that for 2 seconds and go to the side here. We have our record, play, and recall buttons here. So if I hold the play button, for example, I get a little menu here, which means I can choose which file I want to play. And I pick that one, for example, and then I'm just gonna press pause there, for example. So a very good control of what you can do there. And again, that can be controlled with your aux audio as well. So you can control that and bring it in as a picture-in-picture or any other format. So it's kind of like having an extra input as well. And underneath there, you have your choosable key you can pick. And in this case, there's a picture-in-picture I can pick there. And on the other one, I have a graphics overlay. Right there. In the center here, you have your program and preview. So, well, you see the fader, so you can go into another one and fade over with the fader, which is actually a quite nice thing to do when you do mixing music, for example. And it's something I've missed when I've used other broadcast switchers is actually this toggle. It's very nice. I like it. Also love that you can actually feel all the buttons, so you can mix without looking, which is a very nice feeling because then you can focus on what's happening on the screen. Very nice. I like that. In the center here, you can pick your aux as an input as well. So there's a video, there's a still, a second still, and just going, it says black, but that's a super input. There we go, and go back to camera. There we go. So that's what's on the front. You have a fade to black button up here in the corner, which takes the video and the audio and just dips it down nicely. So when you're done with your broadcast, all the audio is cut and you can simply just go out. You have difference in what kind of wipes you want. You can do the side to side wipe. You can go into the previous one and you can do a dip to color. And you have your mix, which is the usual fade over. All right, let's go into the menu, which is actually something that I like in this because I don't need an extra laptop to do it, and I can change settings while I'm mixing because it doesn't take over the entire output. It also gives me this side here, so if I press menu here and press it again, I get this full screen here, or this full corner with all of my settings. So, and then I use this little knob right here to go up and down. And if we go up to the top, we can check the color back, set our two colors. And that's just a hue, saturation, brightness, and what the color is at the moment. And it just gives the brightness of what's on the screen at the moment there. If I go down to super source, so if you enable it, you push it in, and then you push again, and then you toggle back and forth. So if I take that on, go back on the menu button, pick a source. So now I have source in 1 and 2, and the background is still 1. Turn it on, and it was that one. So you see the still is the background is the brick wall, and then it's 1 and 2, and my inputs. And I go down to control, and you can change the style. So you can see it zooms in, zoom in, crop, just crop. So it's at the center of each of the pictures. And go back to just zoom in, and I have 2 equal sized pieces right there. And this is kind of nice if you have like a bingo, or have something happening that you want to see, or you have an interview with 2 people that aren't there, or the video you want to talk about is here and you want to be seen here. So there's a lot of options you can do and use with this. And then you have your masks, and roll this back and forth. You see I can crop in how big my screen is. So if I want to make them the same size, or if I want to move them up a bit, I can do that. It's good if you have like a little overlay over it as well, so you can set the settings there. So that controls the number 1 and the number 2, so you have 1 for each. Then you can add borders to them. Push on, and you see now it has a yellow border. And then you can pick what you're going to have on your key here, this button here. So you go into key type, you decide if you want to have pattern, picture-in-picture, chroma key or luma key. The luma key is a little bit special because you have to have a key and a fill. That means you have to have a PNG with an alpha channel, then you have to pick, this is my alpha channel right here, so it's a black background but it's see-through through. And then you can resize it and move your X and Y. So if I change the size of it there, let's see here, that would be the still 2, is that the one? Or do I have to put on the chroma key? There's the chroma key. So here is your chroma key with your alpha channel. So you can see it's a 2 little frames that comes through, and it's an overlay of the frames themselves. And then it's everything that's black is see-through. So you can put it on top of other things. So if we do there, so now you can see it kind of works. I wouldn't have to change the size of this image to fit where my frames are. Then I can frame in my 2 inputs. So this is a combination of what you can do with your files you put in it. And it's super easy to input files actually. You have a SD card reader here. So you just go in your computer and put in a PNG into the images file folder, and then you can bring them out. So I'll see that in 1 second. All right, so I'm going to go into chroma key now, which is the green screen section of this. So you push the button, you press source, and if I check back here, you see I have a green screen in the back on input 4. So we're going to pick input 4 menu, chroma key, source and make sure this right here is 4 and nothing else. And there. We're gonna see here resize. Turn off the resize. There you go. So you can make it bigger or smaller as well, so you can move around your green screen. So there we go, and boom. And control is just what color you're using at this moment, and then you can set your edges to see how well it green screens as well. There we go. So if I press play, there, if I go back, this is a way to cheat getting moving graphics, by the way. So put a green screen on a computer, and then just on a timeline or a clip, you put on your graphics, and then it can come in, and you can have animated graphics. Let's go into the menu again. What's next? Key pattern. If you want the key pattern, you can pick your input. Let's say 1. There you go. And then wipe. Let's see here what we can choose. You can choose different patterns. Maybe we do a cross pattern there. You can choose your sizes and your softness and your positions. And let's see if we go back here and choose pattern in our key type. Key pattern, there you go. And now it's on the key button here. There I am. So it's a fair logic to it. You just have to go back and know where you are, basically. And we go back to key pattern. Source is already picked. Because I can change that and see, change it which input I have, but let's go with 1, like I said. We picked the wipe on this one. Can change the position, size. So I can put up a different pattern there, say there, and maybe I want to change that now. Do a different one, maybe I want to be in a circle. You see it cuts me in a circle instead, so that's the pattern you can put in on your thing. See? Useful in its own way. There we go. Hop out again. Then you can change the size of it as well. Resize. And you can make it smaller or bigger. And then you can pick your position. Y is up and down, and X is left to right. So if I want to put that up in the corner, just spin the knob, and then click when I'm happy, go back to menu to go down to the next one. Next on the list is the picture-in-picture, and the same thing goes. You go all the way up to key type, and then you pick picture-in-picture. Picture-in-picture. Back to menu and down to the settings. There you go. Source, pick which one you want. Camera one works pretty good. There you go. Down, size and position. So do you want the bigger or do you want it smaller? There, and X was sideways. So if I want to put it here, down in the corner, there, push, and then Y is it lower down. Done. Say if you have a phone call coming in from the computer, or you're Skyping somebody or something like it, very handy to just put them in the corner so you can talk to them at the same time. And again, you can do all of these things while you're mixing. So you can be in the menus and going live to that one, live to that one. Got that one, back to fixing your picture-in-picture for the next thing coming up, which is something that happens a lot in broadcast. We'll go back to DSK, which is another form of graphics. So it's the same with the see-through part. Pick the source, the still 1 and 2, which is their frames, and you can mask them the same way. And you can shape the key as well in this one. So you can cut it down a bit. That would be DSK, would be this one. And you can invert it as well. There you go. And you can change the rate of it, like so. There we go. And then the next thing we have here is no longer a key, but the fade to black. And you can say how fast it goes to fade to black. Oh, I have to choose it. There. Super slow fade to black, for example, and cut back. So that might be a bit too slow. So pick and go back to 1. There you go. And then you can pick if your audio follows video. So if you want it to fade out with your audio, then you can set that. I would probably recommend that. It's a good setting to have. Dips down, and then you're free to go and hop out of your stream. There we go, and we can go into audio mixer here. It's a lot of settings, isn't it? I like it. You can do a lot in here. So you can go into your specific mics in here and set your fader levels. You can set your balance, so right to left, your input and your delay. Oh my goodness, you can set your delay. So if you have a mic that comes in too early, say you have one mic that's closer, like right here, and maybe you have 50 meters of cable going somewhere, so there could be a slight delay and when the audio comes into you. And that means you can delay the other mics to hit the same time. So you can put in a little millisecond delay up to 170 milliseconds, which is very nice. And you can turn it on and off right there. I do like that. And you can do that to all of them, the auxes, and the program, and the monitor, so your ear as well, your headphones. And you can decide to listen to a specific mic too by changing this. If you just want to listen to one, for example, maybe there's a popping sound or something, you want to listen to that specifically, you can go in here and you change it to only listen to one without changing any of the mixing. All right, so you have two stills you can use. It has still 1 and still 2. And you can go in and pick which still you have from the batch you have here. So I want to have back my brick wall there. And if I go back to down here, you have a upload version. So you decide, you have a storage of 31 you can pick, and you can upload them in there. So if I wanted to go into, let's see here, 5 is empty. I go down and load picture. It only takes PNGs, so you load in PNGs in your storage. So I'm going to put this background in the living room. Pick that one for number 5. Good. And then I can go back to still selector. And now 5 is an option to bring in as well. You can see it here in the middle there. Very simple. And then you have your macro memories, which you can import if you have them on your memory card. You can put it to sleep as well after a few milliseconds. So 500 is the set they have. I'm going to keep it at that. And here comes one of the fun things, which is one of the triple threats here. It is the stream. So you have 3 streams you can activate at once. So you go in, press your stream, and you pick your platform, YouTube, Vivo, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, Restream, and Bilibili, Boxcast, all of these. So then you pick which one you want. You have to go into your website of choice or your platform, get the stream key and the upload key, and then you enable it, disable it. So you can set all of these up and you don't have to use them every single time. You can disable 2 of them maybe if you're just going to go YouTube today and then not Facebook. Then you can disable Facebook for the moment. Otherwise you can activate all 3 of them right away and be done with it there. So you set that the same setting up for all 3. You go in, you pick your platform. You go into your actual platform and get the stream keys and passwords and everything in there, and you put it in here. And then you can write it in with your little keypad here, like that. Boop. So 3 streams at once, which is very nice, so you don't have to stream it to a separate platform to then spread it out to other platforms. So you can do everything in this box. Very nice. Let's see here, your playback. You can set the playback to play once, repeat, or sequential. So since you have your little list of recordings you can do. And then you have a whole bunch of settings in here. A whole bunch of settings. So you have your version number. You can say what sources are. If you don't want to call it preview and program, don't want to call it HDMI 1, but maybe close-up camera, Studio 1, camera 1, Studio 2, camera 2. You can set the names of each of your inputs. And you can set what audio meters you have on screen. Maybe you only want the first 2. Then it doesn't get so cluttered. You can just turn them off. Maybe you want to turn that on off, that one off, that one off. And if I go back out, it should be less here. There you go. You can also switch if you don't want to have program on one side and preview on the other, depending on your preferences. I prefer having program on the right and preview on the left, so I can set that, which is very nice. Thank you very much for that. I like that. Go back to the markers, and then this is the broadcast safe frame. So you can turn it on and off if you don't want the lines on there. See, on and off. So you shouldn't have graphics under this line, for example, and you should keep people looking in here, and they look in different directions based on where the lines are, which is nice when you're live mixing and things are moving around and such. So I'm going to keep that on because I really like it. And your mic inputs, you can pick if it's going to be mic, line, or mic with power. So if you need phantom power, for example, you can set that in the board. Also very nice. These people have definitely done broadcast. And you can name your record file for your project, for example. If you have a concert, then you can read the concert name. So when you do your recordings, you can find them easier after. Record file and source selection. So you can move things around if you want. You can change your aux from the SD card to a USB camera, NDI, or those are ones, SD cards, USB camera, NDI. So you can have an extra camera input if you want from that source right there, from the aux. Let's go back to SD card. There you go. Your ad format you can set to 60 frame, 1080 60p, and down to 1080p 24 frames. I will advise you though that some screens doesn't like it when you have the wrong frame rates, for example. And then you can set your outsources, so your program feed if you want that on your HDMI. You can have double multiviews if you want, and you have a UVC, which is the USB output. So I can put my HDMI 1, I can change around if you want program preview, aux, or multiview. That could be useful if you had two screens and you wanted, for example, your multiview on one and your program on another just for you, and you're recording on the actual deck itself. Then you can have a good grasp if the cameras are in focus and all that kind of jazz. Down here to quality, you can pick your streaming quality from low, medium to high, your recording from low, medium to high, depending on if you want higher quality or lesser quality or bandwidth and all of that. In here you can set your network, so you can do your protocols, the DHCP or the, what do you call it? It's static. And then you have to set in all your static, the usual network settings basically. It's your IP addresses, subnet mask, gateways, primary DNS, secondary DNS. Yeah, so you don't get bumped out from other things in the network. All right, there, going to the panel. This one I actually like. Thank you so much for this setting. I can change how bright my buttons are. Like I get sometimes a bit blinded of having them too bright when I'm mixing, because it reflects up in my glasses and all that. So I'm really like that I can just lower this to a nice dimmed version. And the last button I'm not going to press is to reset the factory button for all of the stream. Also, you can format your SD card, which is quite nice, so you can wipe it in the box itself. And that is actually all of the settings you have in this box, and that's super nice. Thank you so much. Thank you for staying with me for all that long. Again, we're going to do some more tests with this thing and actually take it out to the field and tell you a little bit more about it as we go. So thank you for this moment, guys. Thank you for listening, and for the next thing, guys, go. So we realized that this video is way too long, and for your sake, we will make the field test into a separate video. Don't miss it, and like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.